Hello and welcome to the online business and media coaching blog, show or podcast. My name is Paul Maffo, and this edition of the program we won't be embarking on any tutorials. Rather, we shall be highlighting the just concluded Migrant Media Conference 2015. The theme of the conference is engaging migrants through community radio and was jointly organized by Phoenix FM Dublin and Dundalk FM 100. Representations came from Community Radio Forum of Ireland and Athlone Community Radio. Some of the organizations gave overviews and objectives of their programs. First on the lineup was the Community Radio Forum of Ireland, CRAOL. The organization says it wants to develop a strategy for integrating more migrant community members into community radio. Organize Community Radio and Migrant Representation Conference. Launch a website for exchange programming. Tailored training materials, which will include glossary of radio terms translated into different languages. 2015 calendar of national days and national organizations, as well as the CRAOL ethos translated into different languages. The project overview and objectives for Dundalk FM is the training of 14 people in Level 3 QQI Media Expression, and the trainees have learned skills in identifying program formats and features, understand how to prepare and research community radio interviews, experience in the roles a presenter, producer, researcher, and sound desk operator can play in program production. For 92.5 Phoenix FM Dublin, its project overview includes the training and facilitation of 5 migrant groups from Dublin, 15's 23.5% migrant population, to make programs about their culture, heritage, and experiences in Ireland. The groups include those of Polish, Nigerian, Roma, Lithuania, and Pakistan. The station has also increased media literacy and technical skills for these groups, sharing their experience with the wider community as well as evaluating and presenting their new skills and knowledge to the groups they represent. I spoke with Dennis McEvoy, the station manager of Phoenix FM 92.5 Dublin, regarding the conference in an interview.
This specific meeting of community radio stations and the conference that's being held today is it's under a project titled Migrant Media. And the Migrant Media project came about a year ago when 3 community radio stations applied for funding to the Community Foundation of Ireland. And that was for a number of projects relating to migrants and how to involve them within community radio, and in what format to involve them, and all the issues that go with that. So the Community Foundation of Ireland proposed to us that we would do a joint project and have learning outcomes at the end of it, and a conference and a website and all those kind of things. So we decided to go for that. And so for the last year or so, we've been working on this jointly. Now, it's only ourselves and Dundalk FM, so it's Dundalk FM and 92.5 Phoenix FM who finished out the project. Unfortunately, West Dublin Access Radio weren't able to finish out the project with us. So from our perspective, from Phoenix FM, we facilitated and trained and equipped 5 migrant groups within Dublin 15, which is our area, to make programs, be it about what they wanted. So either their issues around that they have experienced since they've been here, or cultural topics, or anything they wanted to, really. And it could be in a mix of their own language or English, or a mix of the two. So we did those with the Nigerian community, the Roma, the Polish, the Lithuanian, and I'm forgetting one now, but it'll come back to me at some stage, and Pakistani as well, sorry. And those programs were quite successful, and they followed on from training we had done in the past with migrant groups specifically. So Dundalk FM, they're part of the project. They were training 14 people to do something similar to what we had done in the past. So between the two projects and the experience behind us, we had a lot of experience coming into it, and we were able to meet up and sort of set out a framework quite early of what needed to be achieved. And we were very clear that we didn't want to try and reinvent the wheel. So where a resource already existed, we took that resource and used it or shared it and where they didn't, we wanted to build a new resource. So the outcomes of the joint part of the project is the migrantmedia.ie website. So if you go onto there, be you a community radio station or a migrant group or someone from the migrant community or anyone within the country who wants to know a bit more about it can find out there. There's a resource section, there's a part about the project, there's something on the two partners within the project, and some sample radio shows from our own station and other stations around the country. So you can look at that and get an idea of if you are doing a project where you need to involve migrants and recruitment and retention and all those kind of things, and cultural differences and intercultural communication. Those were big areas that we found that needed to be addressed.
Yeah, are there specific areas that you have identified that would be best to bring in migrants?
Specific areas of our program schedule, is that it?
No, within this particular event, because it is intended to encourage migrants to partake in radio.
Yeah.
So I'm saying if this get-together has identified avenues of doing that.
Yes, I think so. There's a menu of different ways. We weren't prescriptive in this project. We were saying that there's a number of different ways of going out and recruiting migrants, and we went through some of those today. So going through embassies, going through community groups that already exist and things like that. And then in terms of the way that they would be involved, it could be any number of ways. So in our own station, we have options which could be, you could be a technical person, so you might not be on the air at all. You could be doing promotion, you could be doing presenting, production. So there's a number of different options to actually do. And then in terms of the types of programs we're talking about, we weren't prescriptive in that at all. They could do anything they wanted to. We would like to hear programs that sort of explain a little bit about their own culture and their own experience, but that's not a prerequisite. What we really didn't want to do was to pigeonhole people and say you're a migrant so you have to do a migrant program, because that's counterproductive.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what will be your general assessment of today's event?
Today's event, I'm very happy with how it went. As I said throughout the day, I think this is a starting point. You know, this is the end of the project, but it's the start of something bigger. So what we want to do now is sit down at the end of this, the partner stations, and figure out how to disseminate this and make sure it's actually used, because there's no point it being done and then being ignored by everyone else. So the first step we'll certainly take is to make sure that all the community radio stations within Ireland are fully aware of it and can adopt it as a way of integrating migrants into their volunteer base. And then from there, we'll be promoting it with migrant groups and others, because I think it's migrant groups have begun to identify community radio as an important tool for both integration and getting a message out there about the realities of migrant life within Ireland, and hopefully killing some of the xenophobia that some people might have naturally.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Also to speak during the interview was the station manager of Dundalk FM, Alan Boyne.
I suppose what we're looking for is really to, Dundalk FM is 10 years old, and many of the stations in Ireland are between 10 and 5 years old. And that's kind of the time period when a huge amount of migrants came over to Ireland. And I feel that both of us have matured insofar as the migrant groups are organising themselves, they're organising their national days, they're organising their events. For example, the Polish group, the Latvian group, the Lithuanian group, certain African groups as well, are celebrating, for example, Africa Day. And they're coming to us and pulling the radio stations out to their events, which is brilliant, because when they arrived first, we probably would have knocked on the door and said, come in and talk to us. And maybe they were a little bit hesitant, didn't have enough confidence. Maybe were afraid to put their head above the parapet in case anybody took a shot at them and said, what are you doing here? But now, after whatever it is, 15, 20 years, I think we're at a kind of a really exciting time where there's a huge migrant population, and they're bringing all different types of culture, music, food, traditions to Ireland. And I suppose it's time now to give them time on the airwaves, and giving them time on the airwaves to talk to their own community, but also to talk to the native Irish.
Okay. And are you satisfied with the turnout of migrants and how they can make use of the radio and the media to project their cultures and all that, especially with regard to today's event. Would you say you are heading to that point where you're going to achieve your aims?
Yeah, I think like we had roughly 50 people here today from all over the world. It really is truly remarkable. And to be honest, a lot of people here, anybody here is interested in media. Okay, and so we've taken, I suppose, all those media heads, for a better word, from all these different countries and brought them in here. And they're all different stages. For example, you have Radio PLK in Dublin, which is the Polish radio station broadcasting on the internet. They want to get an FM licence for Dublin. We have a group there from Balbriggan who are broadcasting on the internet for Balbriggan, and they want to get a full licence. We have a guy from Monaghan who's originally from Georgia, did some work with Dundalk FM, and now would like to set up a community radio in Monaghan. And these people are bringing not just, I suppose, the community radio idea, but they've also got a lot of other skills in media that they can bring to the community radio movement. So I think it's great, and the next couple of years are going to be very creative, I think, with regards to the community media landscape, not alone.
Susan Martin, a volunteer with Phoenix FM 92.5 Dublin, gave insight to what she does at the station and recruitment of volunteers to the station as well as the conference.
Mainly I organise interviews for D15 Today, which is a show that goes out in the morning time, and I write articles for the website and also check the inbox, the email.
Oh, that's great. And these are things you do on a daily basis?
Yeah, 5 days a week. I work evenings from 6 to 10 p.m, so I do the evening shifts.
So how difficult or easy is it for you to get fresh volunteers into a station?
Well, Nuala Smith would take part in doing that, and we get a lot of students, transition year students, and from all walks of life who are leaving school, who need some experience. She'd get loads of emails in, especially around this time of year. Yeah, we were getting a good lot in there for volunteering.
Right. So how have you taken anything? Have you learned anything about this conference, and what will be your words of advice if you're asked?
My words of advice is keep up the good work. I think this conference is brilliant. I think if this happens to be an annual thing, which I'm not sure it is, probably is, I think it's a great organisation to link lots of different walks of life and cultures into the local radio industry all around Dublin and further afield.
That's great. Thanks very much.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks.
One problem which many community stations face is not having the human resources for outreach to migrant communities. It is an issue which the Community Radio Foundation of Ireland, CRAL, developed an action plan, which among others include the hosting radio ads in different languages aimed at encouraging local migrant population to their own programs. Secondly, dedicating percentage of daily schedule to migrant music. A reference national holiday and program featuring migrants, encourage migrant representation in communities and boards. Promoting local migrant events and community notices. Live broadcasting or recording events, for example, Africa Day event. And then sharing foreign language programming with CRAL stations through a dedicated website. Well, there is no doubt that the foundation for having more migrant voices on air has been laid with this conference. It remains to be seen how much community radio stations can apply the action plan. And on that note, we come to the end of the program. Till I see you again, my name is Paul Metro.